Hey, you guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Old School versus the New School.
TheeEnicole, my partner in crime. Even
Well,
though she's a dime, what are you what are you doing with your time?
if that is not the epitome of old schoolness, oh my God, I'm so glad that we have this on record so we never forget this moment in time.
That's one of my old school lines from way back.
Oh my goodness. Hey, Cloud Crew. Cloud Crew says bars. Do not hype this man up, okay? Because he gonna Dr. Seussing us every episode from now on.
TheeEnicole, I don't know what you got me into tonight, but I'm sitting here with this thing. I know you heard about the Dalai Lama kissing this young boy, and I'm like, what in the hell is going
Well,
on?
you know what? That's how in tune we are because that's very a good segue. So talk to me about that because I did see the picture, but I didn't really look into it. So what happened?
Apparently, it appears to be a young Indian boy. I mean, it's video. I mean, don't he understand there are cameras everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
So he's kissing this little boy, and then the little boy pulls back, and then the Dalai Lama like sticks his tongue out, like he wants the boy to come back and either kiss his tongue or put his tongue in his mouth or whatever. And and the little boy does it, and I'm not sure if there's some kind of ritualistic nonsense or I know we live in a world full of perverts. This is a world full of perverts, you
Yeah.
know. And the Dalai Lama was supposed to be the symbolism of knowledge and wisdom and so forth, and now he's being perverted. It would appear so.
That's what I
Um,
heard too. That the young boy asked him for a hug or whatever.
mm, yeah, but
Universal T with Marie.
but a hug and a kiss is two different things entirely.
Okay, so let me back it up a little bit, and this is gonna be a Kelly Bundy moment for me, for everybody in the bushes who be want to judge me and stuff. But y'all know I am transparent and I don't care. So I know I've heard of the Dalai Lama, but I don't really know like what his purpose is.
Yeah, he just like it's almost like Buddhism. Um, he's like a symbol of peace, almost like Mother Teresa was in her day. One of those type of symbols that you look at and you hold them up with reverence because they always have such wisdom and such knowledge of information and different times and what's going on in the universe and rhythmically and all these different kind of things. They're so knowledgeable and in tune with those things, but we tend to forget these people are still human.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're still human, they fall prey to a lot of our human frailties, and perversion is one of them. And that's a big problem in society today is this perversion. We
Well,
know about
I've
the
always said I feel like if you don't have a problem with like your reproductive organs, I feel like making this vow of life chastity doesn't make any sense because it's a natural um it's a natural feeling, it's a natural occurrence. Your body does that. You don't really do it.
I never understood taking a vow of celibacy for religion, not reproducing intentionally because religion or whatever, nuns, priests. I mean, it got so bad, TheeEnicole, as you know.
They made
They,
them orphanages.
yeah,
I
exactly.
know.
And then they started allowing priests to marry because they had gotten so perverted. It's like, well, we can't stop them, so just allow them to marry now. Who told y'all in the first place that priests cannot take on wives or make love? Who told y'all nuns cannot make love? And all? Where do y'all get this stuff from? It's nonsense.
Y'all heard them on Sister Act singing, I love it, I love it. Oh my goodness. It's
all,
weird to me.
all this stuff is cultish, TheeEnicole. It's very cultish behavior.
Yeah. I feel like it's a means for somebody to control you and give you a list of rules.
Mm-hmm.
When you break them, you're beneath them, But meanwhile, behind closed doors, they done broke every rule they ever wrote.
I mean, listen, the Catholic Church had everybody coming up in there, running up in them little girls, politicians, police
And
officers,
boys.
who,
And the boys. The
and the
little
boys,
boys. Mm-hmm.
right? Had everybody running up in there because the church. There was a time when the church was, was government and state. It was separate. Okay, so you had everybody running up in the Catholic Church back in the days, messing with these kids. So it's very disturbing, but it's not shocking with the Dalai Lama because it just seems like everybody's perverted today for some reason. And
Well, this is funny, but it shows how, like, as you and our friendship have grown, how in tune we be, because behind the scenes, you and I were always sending little clips back and forth and stuff like that.
right.
So I don't really watch the news. I'm not into that. I be in my own lane. However, it's funny that you bring this up because it's a perfect segue to what I wanted to talk about tonight, which is an Instagram post that I came across. So let me play this clip real quick, and then you're going to see why I say it's the perfect segue. So let me pull this video up. And it's just a short little clip.
Y'all looking at my lady booty?
So it was quick, but you saw what happened, right?
Can you play it again?
Okay.
Y'all looking at my lady booty?
So when I saw the clip, I'm like, hey, Easy, what's going on? Everybody, listen. We have great content creators in here already. Shameless plug. On the stage beside me, we got Magnetic Repellant. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. Don't just subscribe. Look around. Like some stuff. We have Universal Tea with Marie. Make sure y'all go over there and check out her stuff. Subscribe and participate. And then we got my bro Easy in here. Make sure that y'all check him out. Well-rounded group of people in here right now. I know it's gonna be more people coming in. So on that video, you saw that the little boys were just looking out the window, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a woman walking away. The caption is, "If Han had a look," and then he say, "Are y'all looking at my woman's butt?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
So first thing I do, I go to the comments. So the first comment is right here.
Okay, what does that say?
So the first one is the person who posted it, which say them boys was locked in. The next comment says Lil Craig and Smokey from Friday, hi Miss Parker. Then this third comment right here is the one that made me look further because it says, y'all in the comments are weird. These are children. And as you can see, this comment by itself has 108 replies, right?
Mm.
So that made me want to go into the replies and look. So I just want to go through some of these comments and just expound on them because I think that it's really funny how, hey, Aunt Marva, what's going on? I think it's funny, not funny like comically, but
Funny, peculiar funny.
It's ironic that I see this and then we talking about the Dalai Lama with this kid. And so let's get into these comments because they are talking about how people over sexualize children.
Mm.
So we see the first comment said, we just glad they not looking at boy butt.
Okay.
The next comment says they're children. They shouldn't be looking at any butt. So stop connecting kids with adult sexual behaviors. It's gross. Next person, right. But let it be their daughter looking at a man and all hell broke loose. So I just thought that it was funny because we're going to go through a few more. But I just think it's funny how I need to stop saying funny because I don't think it's humorous.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's weird that people do connect adult situations with things that kids do that's not even on their mind.
Right. Right. Well, let me say this, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
This, when I was a young boy, this is part of natural development. Okay. Little boys, little girls, as they begin to grow, their hormones start to act up early. I mean, when little girls have their cycles, some have them as early as 8 or 9. Okay. Now, once you have a cycle, you're ready to produce children according to nature,
Yes, physically.
right? According to nature, physically.
Mm-hmm.
So is that not, I ask these tough questions. Okay. Is nature saying you're ready? Because if not, just cycle till you 15, 16, 18. Okay. But in some way, nature says, okay, this person is ready to produce children because they had their cycle at 10. Now, we know mentally and emotionally, there's no way that they're ready for that. They're not mature enough. They don't know anything, but physically, they're ready. I say that to say this. When I was a young boy, and I would interact, with the little girls on the street, boys would interact, whatever. There was a lot of things that we did that would be considered sexualized. Writing little notes. The girls would write notes. The boys would write notes and all this. And there was a lot of sexual tension. I'm talking about at ages, 11, 12, things like that.
Did you see how young those little boys were?
But it starts early like that, Nicole, because they're just looking. Okay. I remember when I was younger, before I started even producing sperm, I was generating erections. I wasn't producing any sperm, but I was generating erections. And because I couldn't produce sperm at that time, it just stayed erect. So I couldn't shoot nothing out. You know what I mean?
Right. So a quick turn I wasn't ready for.
Right. I'm just telling you. I'm being honest. So I don't really fault the young boys for looking.
Not at all. But
I don't fault them.
I just feel like, how do they even know what they was looking at? You know what I mean?
Media, TV, all this stuff. People in the comments mentioned Miss Parker from Friday. Right. You got women who wear now. What the woman was wearing was not provocative at all.
Well, said TMI.
What she was wearing was not provocative. The woman that in the video you showed, she's had on a pair of pants, and her butt shows. Her butt shows. She can't hide it. Okay, but you have in society today, women have a tendency of running around here half naked. They're doing twerking videos. They're all on social media with pictures of their behind. They're in the mirror taking a selfie with their butt in the background. We see it every day, and because we see it, these kids are seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a step further. I'm gonna go a step further for a second, Nicole. Mm-hmm. Okay. And gay folk can get mad at me. I don't care. But when these gay people have these parades, okay, why are you in a parade running up and down the street with your behind out? You don't see heterosexual people doing that. You sexualizing and putting this stuff in these children's faces.
Well, yes, they do.
What do they do?
Be outside naked.
In what kind of parade?
Well, not in parades, but just regular life. You go to Miami, everybody naked.
Well, I'm talking about in a parade setting where they blocking the streets off and giving you leeway to run up and down the street.
Freak.
Huh? You talking about Freaknik?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be an issue now because supposedly we can get into this another show. They're doing a documentary on Freaknik, and apparently they have previously unreleased footage. Yeah. And a lot of people are running scared right now.
Yeah. It wasn't girls going wild, it was your auntie and your mama going wild.
That's it.
Let's look into the comments for just 1 second because I got something to say.
Okay.
After I read this comment, our bodies are being prepared, but still children in our culture. Allowing our daughters to dress too provocatively is wrong, bellies out, etc. So that goes into what you were saying earlier, Alex, which is, nature gets our body ready, but in this culture, the age is not what it is in other cultures. Because in other cultures, as soon as you get on your cycle, you are given away as a bride.
That's it. That's true. Which to me is sickening because how you gonna have a 50-year-old man marrying a 12-year-old? That's asinine to me. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite words. Okay. Cloud Crew says just playing. Universal Tea with Marinos. Easy. All right. Okay. Twerking videos. Yes, our daughters are mimicking that. I feel like in our culture, it's already in our genetics too, as well, though. You know, rhythm is in our bones.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? TheeEnicole and she might have been hood or ghetto or whatever. I saw a video last couple of years where a young lady was on video doing a twerking video, and she had two babies in the video with her. And they were in diapers. They were toddlers. They were walking, but they had diapers on, Pampers on, or whatever. And they sitting mimicking twerking with a pamper on. And apparently she don't see a problem with that. And everybody else looking at this video going, why is she doing this in front of these kids? They're making perversion acceptable. And that's the problem. It should not be acceptable.
Well,
would you want your daughter with a 30-year-old man eating a coke? Wait, what is she, 9?
Yeah, she's not. Definitely not.
Okay, that's perversion. Because there are some cultures where they would give your daughter to a 30, 40-year-old man to have children.
Yeah, definitely not.
That's not okay.
She said, I hope I don't pop up in these Freaknik videos. As soon as you do, we will be going live immediately. It will be breaking news right here on yours truly, TheeEnicole, okay?
I'm happy to say I've never attended a Freaknik, so I will not be in no video.
You never?
Never attended a Freaknik. Nope.
You was throwing your own, though.
I plead the 5th commandment.
Not the 5th commandment.
I know it's the 5th amendment, but I need Jesus, so it's the commandment.
I'm not worried about that kind of video.
I'm not worried about that. You ain't gonna have me on video nowhere.
Listen, I'm glad that Freaknik is not now, or it would be a whole nother animal. It would be sex and now guns and all type of stuff.
Yeah, it would. Because
they just was having fun. Now it's gonna be with everything so fluid, you don't know who you're gonna be twerking with.
It'd be a combination of sex and unaliving folks.
Right.
You know, it'd be total chaos, total anarchy. Is probably a better word for it.
University said, me either. I've never been to Freaknik or the Kappa, none of them.
You know, TheeEnicole, when I was a young boy, what did she say?
She said, "Shit, I was in there hard."
See, you won't be on video.
Well, we're going live immediately. Mark my words.
Immediately. I want to do that live.
What you were going to say to me?
There was when I was a little boy, me and my brothers, we were little. We were probably like less than 10, maybe right around 10 or 11. Mm-hmm. But there was a woman that lived in our neighborhood, Miss Pat. Now, Miss Pat was Miss Parker in our neighborhood, okay? And she had a boyfriend, and they would always fight and argue and so forth. And when we lived at in Brooklyn, a lot of the buildings, they had a courtyard in the middle of the building, a courtyard, right? So we're playing in this building, and Miss Pat and her boyfriend in the house fighting. She comes running out of the building butt naked, right? In front of all these kids. Now we're little boys, and soon as she came out, we was like, "Whoa, whoa!" You know, and saying obnoxious things like, you know, how's a 9-year-old boy? You know, I would F the shit out of Miss Pat. You know, you can't listen. You're not going to do nothing with Miss Pat. You 8 or 9. But the thought.
But hold on, let me pause you. That is not true.
What is it? How's an 8 or 9-year-old boy going to satisfy Miss Pat?
Now he not going. Well, I can't even answer that either because we were just talking about It's a lot of abuse in our culture. Like I just have brothers. I don't have no sisters. You know how many times I've been around guys and they be competing on who lost their virginity first? Like, I lost my virginity at 7. I lost my virginity at 9 and 6. No, you was being violated, my guy.
Right. Right.
Hey D.
Right.
What's going on? Welcome.
You know, society don't look at, you know, boys or men the same way when they're violated, the way we look at women and girls the same way when they're violated.
Yeah, it ain't cool because that stuff definitely manifests when they get grown.
Mm-hmm. That's it. You know, a lot of little boys, of course, when they're, you know, touched or abused by a female teacher, they love it. Little girl feels violated. The little boy don't feel violated. Just like to your point.
Some of them do.
Well,
and even if they don't feel violated, something psychologically unhinges for you as a child.
You definitely get damaged from it.
Yeah.
So whether you think you're not damaged or not, you're having fun or whatever. You know the famous actor.
The chat is.
What was that?
I'm listening. I just love how loving and greeting the chat be. Like, hello, hello, hello.
Remember the actor Tar Bridges who played on Different Strokes? You talk about Willis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back in the day, right?
Something happened to him, right?
What was that?
Didn't something happen to him?
No, he's alive. He's alive.
No, I mean sexually.
Sexually, yes, because they're Hollywood shit, right? Now, he said that when he was a little boy, this man, you know, I guess around Hollywood, just started playing with him sexually or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now, it confused him because he didn't know whether it was right or wrong, but he knew that it felt good. This is his words.
Correct.
Okay, because he was having an orgasm. It felt good, but he was confused because it was like my mother and father together, but this is a guy, so I'm confused.
Right.
You know, so that's how it starts to manifest in your mind and confuse the mess out of you and cause you to be in therapy 30, 40 years later.
And then what's so crazy about the industry and how they do is that, like, prime example, what's the old boy name? Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown.
They did all type of stuff to him, and now that he talks about it, they just label him as crazy.
That's crazy.
Write him off and don't value anything he says. Now, granted, he probably made some wrong turns in his life, okay, but that doesn't take the validity of what he's saying away.
No. The first thing they do, these people with their line of defense, not the Orlando Browns, the abusers.
Right.
The first thing they do, because they have the money, they have the control, they have the resources. So they have the ability to make people think that you are actually crazy.
Yeah.
And because people are so easily manipulated and believe everything they see and hear on TV, they believe it.
Yeah.
Until it ends up on their doorstep.
Right.
And once it ends up on their doorstep, then they start going, oh, Orlando Brown was right, or this one was right, or that one was right, because it happens to you now.
Hey, Blended Healing. Yeah, period. Like, and I agree with Universal T when Marie, she said, that's why I didn't let my kids play with older kids or fast ass kids, because I watch my kids for real. I do the same with my daughter. Like, and earlier, Aunt Marva said, where did he even find that language? And it's because, you know, back when I was growing up, because I'm good and grown, okay, I ain't as grown as Sir Alex right here, you know what I'm saying? Because I am the new school to the old school, but you know. It was a separation of grown people and kids. When grown people was talking, go do what kids do. But nowadays, kids just sit up under their parents and are hearing all type of things. And then after that, how you gonna fault him or her for repeating what she's saying? You said it.
Right. Yeah, when I was a kid, you couldn't sit in grown folk face. You go play with the kids. Kids should be seen and not heard. All these different kind of sayings that they had for us because they wanted us out of grown people's face, out of grown people's conversations. You know, the famous actress, former Miss America, Vanessa Williams.
Mm-hmm. Which
the light skinned one, the light skinned Vanessa Williams, because there's a light skinned one and a dark skinned one.
Correct.
Both equally beautiful, by the way.
Yes.
Okay. But I'm talking about the light skinned one because she was the one that was Miss America.
Right.
And they destroyed her when they found that she had done some pornography early in her career trying to make it. And they took the crown from her. Okay. She said that when she was a little girl, I don't know, she was 8 or 9, she went to spend the night with a girlfriend. You know, the little kids spending the night over each other's house. Her friend's older sister molested her. You know, performed oral sex on her. But Vanessa Williams was like 8 or 9 years old. And Vanessa Williams was like, I wasn't sure what was happening, but I knew it felt good. The same thing Tara Bridges said. Yeah. But she said, I was confused because this is a girl doing this to me. And it's my friend's sister. Yeah. I didn't know how to stop her. She was bigger. She was older. I didn't know how to stop her. Yeah. You know, so these kind of things happen all the time. And I say that to the comment where they said, that's why I don't let my kids spend the night at people's house. And I didn't the same reasons.
Yeah, but it happened to, I don't even want to go into that. I didn't, oh, shit. We're going to say that for another show, but I definitely can relate. But it's totally right. And that shit manifests when you get older. And I want to say something right here about Universal TV when Rishi said, you're right. I think maybe the trauma has him in the state that he's in right now because they go through that stuff as kids. They're being made to think that this is okay. This is what happens for you to do what you're doing on the television. And to cope, they go to drugs, other things. You know what I'm saying? So how do you then fault him and write him off as crazy and you did this to him?
Yeah, listen, you talking about this industry, you know, what they did to the actors Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, those two guys, it just destroyed them. Even way back in the day, they were messing with Shirley Temple, you know.
Yeah. And I was just gonna say, when you just brought up Vanessa Williams, they didn't do Brooke Shields like that, and her mother had her in Playboy at 10.
Her mother was pimping her out big time.
Yeah.
Big time. To these grown men. You pimping your daughter out to these grown men because you want to be rich.
Right.
It's crazy. But just to circle back to the video you showed, that is natural hormonal progression in young boys looking at that woman's behind. On the surface, there's nothing wrong with that. Unless that woman turned around and acted upon it with them little boys, that will become a problem. But just them looking is not a problem.
I gotta disagree because they was so little. I just feel like they was looking and him suggesting that is what could have made those little boys think because they just was too little.
No, they weren't like they were 3.
The one did look about 3.
But you see, Cole, they were staring because something within them naturally said, that looks good to me. Oh. That thing looks good to me. That's what you have to understand. Nobody's doing that to them. That's something in them innately. Why they can look at that nice behind and say, that looks good to me. And they only been on the earth 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
It's the same way, like you get a child. I got a 3-year-old granddaughter, right? She's my youngest granddaughter, right? Mm-hmm. She still do the old tricks. You know, they put stuff back, you know, and you go, let me see the hand. They show you the empty hand and still got one hand behind their back. That's the oldest trick in the book. Mm-hmm. But to them, they're doing something new. On top of that, they already know how to lie. Mm-hmm. Nobody taught her to do that. Yeah. That's something natural that all kids have done coming up throughout history.
Definitely born in sin. So, but I want to read a couple more of these comments because it's like you was in the comments. Because the next person says, "How are the two even connected? Gender and sexuality are two different things." So the next person's response to that is, "My point exactly. Let them boys be boys. I am a father." And that is normal, not weird. Y'all have to stop being so sensitive. The next one, don't pull the parent card because I'm a parent as well. Stop assigning adult sexual behavior to children. I don't think that that's too much to ask. You're bringing up a completely different topic that has nothing to do with the other. The other one says if you can't understand the difference, then say so. But Google is free.
Sure is. For now, anyway.
Like they was going in on the comments, and I put the link in the description to the actual post so you guys can kind of see what the people were saying because it was crazy. Like the first reply alone had 109 comments at the time when I screenshotted this stuff. So I could imagine how many replies it has now.
Mm.
So I want to ask in the chat, do you guys think that the society that we live in and this culture, as far as the United States, I'm going to speak on the United States only because we know other cultures have different rules and regulations and feelings on things. Are kids being too sexualized?
I'm gonna say yes. And I'm gonna say that because the way they're writing children's books now. You know, I remember a book back in the day, I mean, not too long ago, actually, but you know, within the last decade or so, Heather has two mommies, and these different kind of books that they, you know, saying they trying to teach children how to, you know, accept, you know, people that are different and do things different. But that's their ways of sexualizing these children.
Yeah, I think that's crazy. I think that's absolutely crazy. Like I remember, you know, I grew up on Arthur. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As soon as Arthur, I forget which character it was. As soon as that little nigga came on with two daddies, oh, we couldn't watch Arthur no more.
Yeah.
D says society does not take into consideration young men or men's mental health at all. They want men to be tough, do and not show emotions. That's so true, and I feel like that's what I'm talking about when I say what happens to you as a child manifests when you get grown. Like being little, being told stop all that crying. They babies.
Mm-hmm. Right. Stop all that crying. Man up to a 7-year-old.
Right.
You know.
I want my baby to be a baby as long as she can be a baby because once you're grown, ain't no going back.
We spoke about a minute ago about, you know, your friends bragging about losing their virginity at 7 or 8 or whatever. I was 16 years old. I was 16 years old when 16. I lost my virginity because
willingly?
What was that?
Willingly,
yes. I willingly lost it at 16 years old. My friends were 12 and 13. Even my younger brother lost his virginity before I did because I was hanging on to my childhood as long as I could.
Can I pause you real quick?
Uh-huh.
I do not like that phrase, lost my virginity, unless it's taken from you because you know exactly where it went.
Yeah, I knew. You know where it went. You know where it went.
You didn't lose
it. I know who I gave it to on purpose.
I know. Mm-hmm. It's go ahead. I digress.
Yeah, we cut school.
I'm analytical over here.
Yeah, we cut school to do it. But
oh wow.
Yeah, but in any event, you know, I was trying to hang on to my childhood. I still wanted to, you know, read my comic books and watch my Spider-Man and Batman cartoons. And I didn't want to grow up that fast because I knew once I got grown, shit got real.
Yeah.
I watched what my mother was going through, and it didn't look like fun to me at all. You know, so I'm like, well, I still have this innocent time while my friends is trying to grow up fast. Because we all know when you're young, these kids think that being grown is staying out late, drinking, having sex, and cussing. That's all there is to being grown.
Yeah.
Okay. No, we do much more than that. They want to grow up fast just to do these things. Yeah. Back in my house and look for food in the fridge and the lights on as if nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't want to grow up. I really didn't want to grow up at all. So I gave my virginity away. To your point, I gave it away at 16 years old because I was ready and I got tired of being teased for not having gotten it. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Because you get teased for that.
Yeah, you know, I know.
Mm-hmm. You get teased for that.
Marva says yes, too sexualized for sure. The clothes looking like adult female clothes. That is just one example. I wanna turn the corner for just 1 second and then go back on topic. I do agree with that, and it's like a double-edged sword because as far as grown people, that is an age-old argument. Like, I can dress however I want to, but then you don't want to receive the attention that you get when you have on these clothes. So if you know the attention that you get when you put on these clothes and you feel like it's not warranted because you have the right to wear whatever you want to, why would you then put kids in those type of clothes?
They don't make children's clothes anymore, TheeEnicole. They make grown people's clothes in smaller sizes.
Period.
That's it. And Dave Chappelle did a skit about this a long time ago, where he said that a woman got mad at him for calling her a whore.
Look,
right?
and look at the comment.
What's the comment? What is it?
But girls are hoes.
I wouldn't go that far. But I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to generalize. But I am going to say what Dave Chappelle said in his skit.
Alex, hold it down for me for just 1 second. I got to check on my daughter real quick.
Okay. You go. Dave Chappelle had a skit where he called a woman a whore. She got upset. He said, "Yeah, but you're wearing a whore's uniform because all her breasts were out, her behind was out, her stomach is out, everything's out. She's practically damn near naked." So he said, "Okay, well, it's a whore's uniform." She said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, if I came here dressed as a police officer, you would assume I was a police officer because of the uniform I'm wearing. And you would come running up to me. Please help me, officer. Please help me, help me, help me." And that first thing Dave Chappelle said was, just because I'm dressed this way doesn't make me a police officer. You know what I mean? So don't mean that. But you're dressed in a certain uniform, okay? So people are going to perceive you a certain way, the same way they will perceive me being a cop in a policeman's uniform. So we got to be very cognizant of images. Imagery is everything. It really is. And people don't give that enough credit. They just sit there and sit around and think that, we supposed to know, don't look at me like that, don't think about me like that, whatever. But you're putting an image out there that lets people know you're a certain way, or at least giving that perception.
Yeah.
You may not, in fact, be that way, but you're giving off that perception and you're giving off that image.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Crazy.
You okay, Miss TheeEnicole?
Yeah, I had to go be a mother.
Okay. You was a mother before a mother.
Which, I'm sorry today.
Oh my goodness.
University with Marie says to Aunt Marva, not booty shorts. I haven't heard that one in a minute, maybe because I can't fit them anymore. I wear a ho's uniform though.
See? She wear her uniform. So that's how she gonna be perceived. That's funny. I love our chat, TheeEnicole. I love our chat because there's no judgment here. No. People can say what they feel. We're having adult conversations here.
Yeah.
We're having adult conversations here. So, and Lord knows I've done my junk in my life, and so it is what it is. I'm pretty much an open book, but those are the teaching tools that we have. This is why we can have the old school versus the new school.
Yeah.
Because there's things that I've seen and lived in my 50 plus years that you haven't. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you respect the fact that I have that kind of knowledge and wisdom to share and be open about, because that's how we teach. We teach through experiences. All of our lives are teaching tools. All of us.
Definitely. And I feel like that's why we need to have these hard conversations, because, each generation is more disconnected than the one before. when I was younger, that generation, they had a little more control on us. You know, it was more respect based. But it's like no respect now.
Yeah.
No
Yeah, it is.
understanding. None of that. Let's check out a few more of the comments. Replies. They say no one is talking about your kids or your family. We are talking about all children in general and the tendency for adults to assign adult sexual behaviors to children when these children are innocent. The next reply is, it doesn't though. Girls are programmed to like boys from their first Disney princess movie. Don't speak on things you don't know. Now I want to stop right there because we already got into this. Even today when what we're talking about like real Disney kids, but the Disney movies definitely ingrained that into us. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't let my daughter watch Disney movies. It's the same old story every time. Girl, it's okay for you to lean into your rebelliousness, do what you want to do, dress how you want to dress, because let's face it, all of the princesses was half naked.
Right.
From Mermaid to Princess Jasmine. I think the only one who kept their clothes on was Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, and
Cinderella. Cinderella, maybe.
Cinderella got her clothes ripped off. We sink body.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And her sisters were hornballs.
Yeah, that's true. Her sisters were crazy. Yeah.
So after you be rebellious and don't listen to your parents, go search out that boy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get that boy, lock him down with a kiss. You even get that in The Lion King, and they animals.
Right. Right. And TheeEnicole, in elementary school, when I went to school, I was in elementary school. It was always the girls that were a little more aggressive than boys. Girls was the one writing the little notes. Do you like Sharon? Check S for yes, or check Y for yes and N for no. And these kind of girls will always write these kind of letters. It was always the girls who, if they upset a guy, and the guy would get upset and go, suck my thing, because he'd be upset. Mm-hmm. You know what the girl would say? Out, let me see it. It was always these kind of comments, but we always in society we give these girls or these women a pass, and we get on the men. We blame the men all the time, and that's not fair either.
But it was a lot of crazy boys too, because I wasn't the little girl that said that.
And I'm not saying there's not crazy boys. What I'm saying is, we get the blame, and probably rightfully so, but y'all get a pass. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, do we? Because you definitely gonna be labeled as a little hoe.
Yeah, but y'all never get accused of lying about the R word. You know what I mean? Yeah. Y'all don't get accused of lying about that. How many have lied about that?
Right, correct.
So you'll always get the benefit of the doubt. We don't. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Especially if you're a black man.
Oh, you're gonna be under the bus, under the jail. So we are a highly sexualized society. Just to circle back, I don't think the little boy is doing anything wrong, because there's nothing you can control in that behavior, because there's something natural about them that said to them, that looks good to me. I want that. They don't know what they're feeling. They don't know why they're looking at it and it looks good to them. They don't know yet. They just know there's something about that they should be looking, and that's a normal thing to do to them naturally.
Right. I encourage people to go into the description and see that link and go see what this conversation was, because you see they really got into some things.
Yeah.
Like,
and I respect people's comments and stuff like that, how they feel, but some people just real ignorant.
Yeah.
It's just because some people are just they live their life. They don't think outside the box. They're not free thinkers. These are the same people that end up in cults. Remember the Waco, Texas thing with the Branch Davidian with David Koresh in Texas, Waco, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this big
that again. I just watched a documentary about it again.
Right. Now he's way out here in Waco, Texas. He's the cult leader, right? He's telling these people, I'm Jesus Christ. Now, supposedly, Jesus walked the earth and never had intercourse with a woman. I'm not sure I believe that, but that's what the scriptures say. Okay, so he never had intercourse with a woman. Now, David Koresh wants you to believe he's Jesus, while at the same time saying, I want your wife, though. I want your daughter. And your daughters. Okay, so now Jesus, the only holy man to ever walk the earth, purely clean or whatever, now he want booty?
Yeah.
And they believe that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what kind of mental state you have to be in to willingly give your wife and daughters to a man to have sex with, and he tell you can't even have sex with your own wife, but
Not
I can.
but they gave them all the money too. The David Koreshes, and it's a few other ones, I can't think of their name right now, but it was another one. They wore like those red robes.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so many.
There's been so many of them, yeah.
And the thing is, they purposely pick the type of people to get there. The broken people, the homeless people, like the people that need something.
Right.
So they was predators at inception.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go back to who you first brought up, which is the Dalai Lama, because he's very old right now, because he was old when I was a child.
Okay.
Do you think that he's not all in his right mind right now? Because it said that he came back and apologized for something he said, and I don't remember you telling me that he said anything. So, like,
yeah, I don't recall.
He tell the little boy to do that. Like,
I don't recall what he said. They were putting words on the screen, which you can't give that much credence. Anybody can put words on the screen as far as what they think somebody is saying. But I'm looking at the physical act of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, he had his tongue out. The little boy put his tongue in his mouth and these kind of things. And it's like, if he's not in his right state of mind to do this, then who's around him that's allowing that?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Like, I just don't understand the fixture of him. Yeah, but again, that it's so sad that people are so lost that they hang on stuff like this, which is what you just brought up about the cults. Like, how do you be so lost that you get caught up? Because I'm gonna just be transparent, right? You know personally what I dealt with last year. Mm-hmm. Last year was a very hard year for me, and I get pushed to the edge a lot. But I will never succumb to my feelings and my emotions because I have a child to raise. So I take my time, my personal time to, if I want to bitch and cry and moan for a few minutes, and then I got to pull it back together because I have things to do. I just don't understand how you get so lost till you just let somebody control your life and you just doing all types of outlandish stuff like that.
TheeEnicole,
connecting your child to that.
TheeEnicole, I got 2 videos on my channel. I want people to go and watch these videos, and they go right along with what we're saying right now. Mm-hmm. And one video is control your emotions. Mm-hmm. People need to go back and watch that video on my channel, Magnetic Repellent. The other video is the plight of the religious fanatic. Mm-hmm. And that's when we get into guys like David Koresh and other religious fanatics who control people and just use them as sexual objects and toys to play with under the guise that they're going to be saved and this person's God and all that nonsense. Yeah. So those 2 videos.
I watched a documentary on Netflix about one in China. Was it China or Japan?
Doesn't matter. They're all over the place.
Yeah, and it was crazy because it's like
they're all over the place.
Religious fanatics, like they're searching for something, and you take advantage of them and do that to them.
They lost, and you're taking advantage of their weakness at this moment. They're vulnerable, and you pounce on them when they're vulnerable.
I just don't see how you be that vulnerable to give your child to somebody.
Me neither. That's ridiculous to me.
Look at my child, funny.
And right.
Me in the hospital or worse. Like, no. Don't even look at her funny.
Right. And it's why nowadays we have a bunch of people running around here psychotic that don't even realize they're psychotic.
Yeah,
because so much has happened to them in their youth.
yeah.
It warped their thinking. It twisted their minds.
That's what
It
I said.
damaged
It's
them
going to manifest when you get older if it's not dealt with.
if it's not dealt with. And you unleash these people onto society because you think they're going to be forever 3 years old. They're going to forever be 8 years old. No, they're going to get grown just like you're grown. And you're going to unleash them onto society for us to deal with.
I want to piggyback off what you said, and I'm kind of going off topic, but it's still related. Is that I feel like that's one reason why they keep trying to push this free thinking envelope further and further and further, because they're now trying to say that if you're a edophile, I'll say that that is a natural feeling.
It is not.
Are you serious?
It is not.
But they're trying to get that off. That's why they keep pushing this free thinking onto people.
Mm-hmm. Free thinking doesn't mean edophile.
Right.
That's not what that means.
But it's coaching them to accept more things, and they're pushing the envelope of what's to be accepted. Like, it's like, you can't judge anybody. Like, are you serious?
Listen, they only push the envelope when it suits their agenda. Otherwise,
what happens to their Becky Sue?
Hey, and listen,
a lot of them doing it to their own Becky Sue. So
they're even willing to sacrifice. See, when you have a cult situation and you have people that's trying to push an agenda, they will sacrifice 100 of their own to get 1,000 of yours.
That's crazy.
You see what I'm saying? Because they consider their 100 undesirables anyway. If you're the true target, if they get 1,000 of you, and in the meantime get 100 of their own, to them that's a win all day, every day. And this is what's done, trying to get their agendas fed. They start pushing stupidity and getting people to believe it by showing commercials on TV, images in movies, and they keep pounding it and pounding it and pounding it. And before you know it, you're accepting it. Or you're actually doing it. You've seen it enough, so you're accepting it.
Or to that one person that's close enough to you that you don't want to walk away from, and you have to accept it. Like, prime example, y'all know I'm a PGK. It was a big thing. Don't get tattoos, right? Y'all know me. I'm doing what I want to do. We ain't got tattoos. So my first tattoo was on my back. So of course I couldn't properly put the ointment on it. So my granny was so mad about it, but she the one who had to put the ointment on. So what she gonna do? Throw me out the family? No, she accepted it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just crazy. So I'm gonna say let's get to some resolution tonight as we wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we know all of these things going on in the world. We as a people, because I can only talk to my people. As far as this goes, I'm no disrespect to no other ethnicities or races and stuff like that. But with everything going on, we have to do better. I know I've been in there all my shows lately with that, but I mean it, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Like, we have to do better. Our kids are lost. They being taken advantage of. They're being hurt. They being offed. They being kidnapped, trafficked, all type of stuff. Meanwhile, you're not worried about anything but what happens on the reality TV show in front of you, or what's going on at the hair salon, or who's having sex with who. Like, we have to start taking care of home.
Mm-hmm.
And then from home, we have to start being our neighbors and our sisters and brothers keeper. Like something got to give, because positivity is dead for real.
TheeEnicole, what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense, but I don't think mankind is capable. I really don't.
We have to. We have to be. We have to.
We're capable, but we won't do it. And we won't do it for one reason, because there's a great universal balance which we were created, right? You have to have one to recognize the other. You have to have good to recognize evil. You have to have love to recognize hate. Okay, you have to have life to recognize death. We have this great universal balance that we like. It's not fair, but how do you recognize one without the other?
So let me say this. Let me say this and rebut to that, because I'm not going for that.
Okay.
Listen, we've recognized it. We've lived it our whole entire brown lives. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
My thing is wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up, because regardless of the evils that are there, their evils get along with each other. Our evil can't even get along with each other. So I just need us to, you know what I'm saying? For real though, like they can hate each other and go make money together.
Yeah.
They can hate each other and build multi-million-dollar companies, productive neighborhoods, social infrastructures. We can't even get along long enough to carry out a full length of a boycott.
Yeah. And yeah, you're a little off topic, but I understand where it ties in. Okay. And I'm gonna say this to that. Okay. And you say you're talking to our ethnic group, and you're not trying to exclude anybody, but you're really referring to our ethnic group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's say, for instance, let's say you're 30 years old, right? And
How
your
old?
entire, what was that?
How old?
40. Let's say you're 40 years old, right? Okay. For the sake of argument. Okay. And for your entire life, you've been fed your dinner under a closet door while you sat in the closet and ate your dinner for 40 years. Okay. After 40 years, somebody go, you're eating the cold, man. You eating the closet? That's weird. That's not weird to you. You've been conditioned this way, right? Why am I saying this? Because when you had a certain group of people who've had 430 years to run a fucking psych job on you, a psych job on our minds, our DNA, our genetic makeup, 430 years of this shit. Okay. We've only been, quote unquote, theoretically free for 50 years. This is since 1970 to now. That's 53 years. After King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and all of them were assassinated, let's say for the sake of argument, 1970, after the Civil Rights Movement, we were free. That's only 53 years out of 430 something years. So it's going to take a long time to recondition our thinking. I'm not making excuses.
I'm just going to say, because
I'm not making excuses. I'm just giving you a scenario on why it's taking so long.
I'm just not going, because everything else is speeding up. It's just no excuse at this point. We have to do better. We're getting off every day, everywhere. And the reason why it is on topic but off topic is because we have to protect these kids. In order to protect these kids, we have to get self right.
When I grew up in Brooklyn, the 5%ers would always say, I grew up with the 5% nation. Mm-hmm. They would always say knowledge of self. And the problem is today, the truth is the enemy. Because if we really knew these truths, people wouldn't behave the way they behave if we knew these truths.
Exactly my point. That's exactly my point. Go get the knowledge. The knowledge is out here. What I'm saying is walk away from these distractions, because these distractions are killing us. Walk away from these distractions because you're so distracted that you just feed your kids distractions. They raising the kids on phones, tablets, computers, television,
video games,
music. Yes, video games. Every year these video games get worse and worse and worse. Now we got it to the point where you playing video games and you can communicate on, like, back in the day you play Sega, you play Atari. It's you and the Atari.
That was it.
Now it's you, the game console, and the world. And you think that your child is playing with a child, and they playing with a 57-year-old man with 50 cats in his house.
Yeah.
We have to do better, and I'm just not going for the excuse. And I feel like if you need help, you can come right over here because we willing to help. Like there are people willing to help. Like, and my thing is, we gotta face the truth. The only way you can get over that shit is to be honest with what you're struggling with. It's somebody out here that can relate to you. I'm just not going for the excuses because I know how hard it is and I know how I feel to give up, but you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want certain results, you just have to do certain things. Like it's just, I know that it's going to be a hard job, but I'm not going for it. It's going to take a long time because we just got to do the work. The people just don't want to do the work. And now I'm cool with the people. If you set in your ways, okay, because I'm done trying to convince people. But the people that won't help, we here for y'all.
You know, Frederick Douglass has a very famous quote where he said, "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Okay, if you're 60 years old, 70 years old, and you're damaged, I can't rock with you.
Mm-hmm.
I focus on the 9-year-old, the 10-year-old, and condition them differently. You know what I mean? So because and I didn't give you that scenario I gave you, TheeEnicole, because I was making an excuse, but I was giving you a reason for the chaos.
Right. Yeah, I totally get it and respect that. I just ain't going.
Right. I'm not going either. I'm riding on your boat. You know what I mean? But so many of us are still caught up in that.
Yeah. And that's what really pisses me off because of just what you said, which is you can get the kids before you can get the grown people right. But but my point is they're letting the kids fall by the wayside, which I can't stand by and watch. I refuse to.
Yeah. So we got to have another follow-up to this because it gets heavy. It does get heavy. You know, and we can laugh and have a nice time, but it's a very, very serious topic. It's serious subject matter.
Yeah, definitely. So I encourage everybody to go to the description and check out that post. Put your input in on there and see where it take you. You know, I feel like a lot of people, you know, social media is a double-edged sword. It's a lot of foolishness that goes over there, but you can have a deep-ass conversation on social media with total strangers. So I just want to thank everybody for coming through. If you're catching this on a replay, I appreciate you too. Make sure that if you're in the chat, you're following these content creators. My lovely co-host right here, Magnetic Repellent. We have Universal Tea with Marie in here. We had Easy in here. I'm Marcella's representatives are in here. Speak with your girl, Marcella. You know, we got to support each other. That's where it starts. You're not by yourself. Help is out here, but you just got to be bold enough to find somebody who you can have some type of camaraderie with, some type of trust that you can open up with, because somebody is going through what you've been through or worse that's willing to help. Everybody not willing to help, but we out here. So we'll be here next week, same time, same place. And we do have a special treat for y'all next week. So make sure y'all tune in next Monday at 7 o'clock for Old School versus New School. And we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
One love.